when you were like, believe it or not, I was like, okay, everyone have to believe it. So tell me.
Well, so you asked me, do I do other stuff besides comedy? To be honest, I got into comedy because I was just really into, from my childhood, I was really into being on stage. From a age, I started taking voice lessons and learning how to sing, actually. But as I went to school, as I went to elementary school, I learned that the main way that people were getting on stage wasn't by singing. It was okay, well, and not to mention most of the singers were girls. I noticed that most of the guys who were getting on stage were either doing skits or doing theater. I kind of wanted to stand out, and I felt like I had a sense of humor. So because I loved being on stage, I loved singing, and I loved doing theater, I thought, why not, instead of doing scripted dialogues, I do personal comedic dialogues. And I always like to make people laugh. So there's that. I love to be on stage, but also I love sports. I'm a huge fan of pretty much every sport there is. Even sports that aren't played in the US. I love cricket. We can start at that. I also I've also really gotten into mixed martial arts, big time UFC fan, and I even take a lot of mixed martial arts lessons myself.
Whoa, I love it. I don't know now. I don't know which one should I ask you, UFC or comedy. I love both, but let's start. I have another question for you, but I definitely want to talk with you about the UFC. So, do you have anyone of your family that likes to be in the stage, like your dad, your mom, anyone, or are you like the first genetic?
Well, I do come from well, a little bit of both. Because I do come from a line of my dad liked to perform on stage, but mostly as a hobby. So you could say that I got that from him. What was interesting is when we would gather around the dinner table growing up. My parents had immigrated from India, and what was interesting about the dinner table is we would joke, we would say, all right, time to tell jokes. So there was that. I'll also tell you this, I have a sister. She's pretty good on stage, but she does it from a more serious perspective. She's kind of she's a big activist for cybersecurity. I don't know if you heard about her. She's got her own YouTube channel. She's got her own organization. She did a TED Talk once. But she gets on stage a lot, but not for comedic reasons, for serious reasons, because she's big on cybersecurity and she's against hacking.
Wow, so your sister doesn't play around. She is there for real business. That's cool. So your parents were born in India.
Yes.
And when they come to the US, do you feel like your friends that their parents were born in the US have more freedom, and your parents are a little bit more conservative, or your parents are from the people that are open-minded and they were able to make their kids feel like other kids, even if they weren't born in the US as parents?
Oh my God, where do I begin? It was weird because growing up, you see all these kids around you and what they do, and you keep wondering, like, you go home to your mom and you're like, Mom, all the kids in school want to do this. Can I join them? And mom's like, nope.
Like what?
like in middle school, some of my friends wanted to go to the movies, or some of my friends wanted to play mini golf, but it was, I guess, you learn to appreciate it as you grow older, because they didn't know how to navigate the American cultural scape. So they didn't know what kind of things that kids do. All they knew was to teach you how to do what they do. But with that being said, as I got older, they knew me. They knew how the culture of America is like. So they were like, okay, we realize the culture of America isn't as conservative as the culture of India, but our kids are Americans, and we gotta let loose a little bit and do what they want to do. Which is why it wasn't until my senior year of high school that I finally performed in the high school talent show, which I better late than never. I still got a chance to do it.
Nice. Because I do think like we are a creature of habit, and we kind of get programmed day by day, and it's so hard to change it within like 1 week or 1 year. It's always hard work. So I do think that parents that come to the US really have challenges and their kids, but then that depends on how open-minded they are, how much they want to live. And also it depends about the ideas. So sorry for asking, but were your parents Muslims, or do they believe in God at all? Do your family a religious family?
Yes.
Shit.
Yes.
What religion?
I was so I was raised Hindu. As a matter of fact, I got a so I have this right above my shelf. I keep that with me for sake. So 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 I was raised in the culture, but I didn't really commit myself to it when I was until when I was 15, and I was getting early on in high school, and I realized that I was really anxious and I was really depressed all the time, and my grit, because I was dedicating my life actually to academics, and I felt like things weren't going my way, and so I felt like I I have a lot of respect for people who either identify as not religious. I feel like, hey, you do you. I don't judge people like that. But I guess me personally, I feel like it's always good to kind of surrender your life to something bigger than yourself. So like I consider myself a religious person who doesn't judge people who aren't religious. I my mentality is if you don't judge me, I won't judge you.
So now you are vegetarian, or no?
I was actually raised vegetarian.
Now?
I am.
Wow. So you say you are a fan of the UFC, like all the, do you think, and you are into mixed martial arts, do you think that like you can be strong and healthy by being vegetarian?
Absolutely. In fact, there are vegetarian MMA fighters. You've heard of Nate and Nick Diaz, right? The Diaz brothers.
Yeah.
So you remember how he got Conor McGregor to tap? Yeah, my favorite part of that was like the absolute showboating that Conor did right before, because we know Conor, not only is he a carnivore, but he likes to make a big one-man show of himself, and he kept saying like, I'm a lion and I'm gonna stomp you like a gazelle, and like literally a couple rounds into the match, he got Conor into a chokehold and Conor tapped. It's like
Yeah.
But it's not, and keep in mind, it's not just MMA. We're seeing how athletes all over sports are becoming vegans or becoming vegetarians. Even some bodybuilders and some wrestlers now consider themselves to be vegetarians. So I guess the key is finding the right diet and supplementing yourself the right way. And it's all about I guess maybe working with a dietitian to find out what works best for you and your sport.
So you don't agree with hunters, like you think that people shouldn't hunt and it's wrong?
Well, my mindset is I don't judge people for things I don't understand. If people want to hunt because it's their choice, then I stay out of it. Like my mentality is I personally don't consider hunting to be a sport, because I guess like I mean every comedian understands this. Like, to be a sport, both parties need to know that they're involved, because if you do something and the other guy doesn't know about it, that's not a sport, that's a crime. But my point is, like, I don't judge hunters. If they want to hunt, they can. I'll just stay out of it. But my only stance on hunting is I won't do it myself, and I don't consider it a sport, but otherwise I don't judge it.
Look, people say that we don't want religious people, and people say anyway, I think we need people like you. I don't care whether we need this mentality that you can be religious or don't, because some people are not religious, but they have the wrong mentality. And I rather be with someone who is religious with healthy mentality and healthy mind. Better someone, I don't know if I should say asshole, but I already say that.
You say what you want, I won't judge you.
So how, like, did your parents teach you this, or did you realize it, or?
It was just from a young age, I learned that from a young age, I was a lot like my parents in the sense that we don't like people who understand. I don't like people who don't understand me judging me, and that I don't like being told what to do unnecessarily by people who don't even understand what I'm doing. So I think actually another reason I believe that way is you know who Clint Eastwood is, right?
Who?
Clint Eastwood, the actor.
No, I'm
So
sorry.
he's a big actor in America, and he's also very politically active. He considers himself to be have you ever heard of the term libertarian?
Bro, that's also my issue. When I go to America, I wanna like learn this libertarian, Democrat. I don't even know what's Democrat. So leave me alone
So
with this. Just say
so
them and I will imagine them.
so tell you what, let's step away from politics for a moment, because I'm also not a very political person.
Yeah.
I just think freely. I'm the average free thinking American, but my philosophy is don't judge me and I won't judge you. And a lot of it is because one of the things you learn as an immigrant and as a person of color growing up in America, especially as a first generation, is people do tend to judge you when you're a child. And when you're a child, you're like, why are you judging me? I'm just like everybody else. You know, I'm going to the same school as you. I'm reading the same textbook as you. I like the same sports as you. Why do you treat me differently? Why are you judging me? Like, I can
So
assure you, like,
you've been judged in the school.
yeah, I mean, and
Wow.
I'm very blessed to say that I've never experienced actual racism, but of course I have experienced like ignorance and microaggressions. That's part of the package. But you know, one of the reasons I do consider myself religious is, you know, I never experienced like actual racism or actual segregation or anything like that. So to say that I'm a blessed guy in that regard is an understatement.
Man, sorry to hear that, and it's crazy that even now for your kids it will be easier. So, for example, now we say, oh, our parents were born in Arabic countries and or in India, and it was hard for them to move to the US. For are you okay there?
Oh yeah, my camera just fell down.
Yeah, don't worry. As long as you don't have earthquake, it's fine. So to come back, what I was saying is that yeah, we say like our parents they had it, they were born in India and they made it to the US, and I think our kids will be saying that our parents when they were kids they face actual racism and that they are like black or Indians, because now the newborn kids have the advantage to be like I'm American, whether they are from Indian background. If you speak English, if you have talent, if you are doing something good, you are American.
I get what you're saying, and now I know that you know, I saw your episode with Josh about where you talked about marriage and you talked about having kids, and personally I'm not 100% sure about having kids yet. I'm only in my 20s, so it might change as I get further down the road. But you know, if I do have kids, maybe I will, because I was raised in a not a conservative but a traditionalist household, and family is a very important part of life. That's what I kind of learned at a young age. So if I do have kids, I would have learned from my own childhood and being raised in America what it's like to raise a child and what it's like to teach a child from a young age that, hey, you're not less than. You're not less than based on your race or based on your religion or based on your gender. You're just think of yourself as normal. And because I know personally what it's like growing up with a mentality that a feeling like you're less than even when you're not. Because sometimes kids around you can just be idiots. They can treat you in a way that you don't deserve, but simply because they don't mean to be malicious, they just might be ignorant.
You know, it freaks me out when I hear people that I like and I feel like they have healthy brain and they're like, I don't want to have kids. But fucked up people are like smashing kids. So I'm like, that's a problem. Because also the fact I feel like people who doesn't think they also more likely to have more kids. But the people that try to think and with reason are more likely to slow down. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to mix it up. Like if things keeps going, because you like good humans, yes, you need to be around good humans. So what if then we have generations after generations that most like it's weird. I'm not telling you go have kids, but I'm just asking you. You like to be around good people, yes? Like COVID made people depressed and suicide. You need people. You need, like, you are comedian also. You need people. Without people, you need people to listen to you. You need, so don't you think that might be also your responsibility as someone with healthy brain to try to bring more healthy brain? Also, you are now telling me that you want to tell your kids like good stuff. Like you are, so don't you feel that this is your responsibility to pass this? And I'm making you feel like God, the prophet, the king.
No. Hey, I've told you this over and over again. I don't judge people like that. But hey, you brought up an excellent point. There's a hilarious movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Idiocracy. Does that ring a bell?
I will watch it. I'm not sure.
So, yeah, just search it up, Idiocracy. Anyway, the point of that movie, it's that the tagline of the poster is evolution no longer rewards the best and brightest member of the species, because humans have no natural predators. So evolution now only rewards the people who reproduce the most. So the most intelligent members of the species are now endangered. So it goes
Wow.
how the US will look like 500 years into the future. And it showed how our president used to be a professional wrestler, and it showed how the lawyers now don't have to go to law school anymore. They now get their education from online courses, and everything is sponsored by corporate universes. And like, it just shows like how society, because of, you said it yourself, because the dumbest members of the species just keep on reproducing, and how smarter members of the species just don't want to have kids. How, like I just said,
Oh my God.
mankind smartest members are now becoming endangered. But that's a question that I'll figure out over time. Like I said, I'm very young. Even by comedian standards, I'm still pretty young. I guess I just want to I want to figure out life first, and I feel like a lot of rational people they want to get their lives in writing before they settle down with families. Like, they want to get a job, they want to get a house, they want to get a car, they want to get money, because of course, how are you going to raise a family without money? but
Yeah. So I guess through our conversation, I start to feel that do you try to impose in your comedy that you are this kid who is his parents weren't born in the US. He felt in the school that he is different. Now, if he want to have kids, do you try to tell people this in your comedy, or do you have any message, or is it just jokes?
That's an excellent question. And what I feel like I've developed in my comedy is I've developed a character. I've developed a persona. Like, you're Facebook friends with someone named Pranav Guru. That's my legal name. Neel Subramaniam, that's a character. That's someone who's unlike me totally. And I developed Neel Subramaniam.
Say again. Now you confuse me. So Neel, is it the real, or what's your name? The real name?
Okay. You're talking to one person right now. So my real name is Pranav Guru. You might know because that's like the guy you friended on Facebook. Yeah. I'm the same guy. But when I perform, my name is Neel Subramaniam. But it's not just a stage name. It's a persona. It's a character. It's something that I've developed out of the way I felt growing up.
Where did the name Neel come from?
Neel is a short form of my middle name, which is Neelesh, and Subramaniam is it's not just a family name. It's my grandfather's name, my father's middle name, and my mother's maiden name. So I felt, why not? And to answer your question, what?
You just mix it up. Yeah.
So to answer your question, Neel, a lot of what I do in my comedy is inspired by the way I felt growing up. Because you watch, I don't know how many American teen movies you saw, but they all show that they're all dating, and the cool guys are all dating the cool girls, and they're all playing sports, and they're all having the time of their lives, and they're partying. And I felt like I wasn't doing any of that growing up, because I felt like kind of an outcast. But in reality, that's just how I felt. But in reality, I wasn't really an outcast. I feel like now I can appreciate the amount of how lucky I was. But while in my real life, I appreciate how lucky I was. In my comedy, I pretend like I had no luck at all. So I joke about all the worst things that could possibly happen, when in reality, these are sort of the average worst things that happen to everybody. I joke about acting. I joke about dancing at parties, when in reality, nobody dances at parties anymore. They just talk and mingle and eat. And I joke about never having a girlfriend, but in reality, most people in high school never have a girlfriend. I joke about never playing a sport, but in reality, not a whole lot of people in high school play sports. But so I took my worst experiences and I created a whole comedy persona out of it.
But man, you also you get me wonder why sometimes there is kids that are cool, like even their parents are like, wow, and some kids are fucked up. Nobody likes them. Like, what the fuck? Where, like, these people are kids, are young. Is it like because their parents are assholes, or like, throw me science, throw me logic, anything?
Well, you're always gonna get a little bit of everybody. I feel like a lot of kids who are assholes, to use the word, it's because they feel entitled. It's because they feel mentally that they're superior to others. And it may be because they come from a rich parents, or they come from rich families, or they may have had privileges that other kids couldn't afford, like having a car when they didn't even have their license yet, or being able to go to every single party, or being able to go to see exclusive people or famous people. And I feel like sometimes that gets in your head and it messes with your humility as a person. So me, what I really try to do in my day-to-day life is I try to balance the privileges that I do have with while still trying to be humble, while still trying to understand that I, this is what my parents worked hard for. They worked hard for me to have a life in America. So I have to appreciate that. And I also have to appreciate the life that I have and the life that I can make for other people.
Yeah, man.
I feel like some people are they're just idiots, and they act like idiots to others because they don't understand that. They don't know how to reconcile those two differences, how to reconcile their parents' humble beginnings and their not so humble upbringing.
Yeah, but also the what's more weird is that you can't change. You can actually become a different person, a person with new perspective, with new mentality, with new point of view. And some people do that change. Some people suck with their life. It's crazy.
And it is, but let me tell you this, standing before you today, I am living proof that you can change your life. I'm still changing my life. Even to this day, I'm still fighting to change my life. Because if I were to get serious for a moment, I've struggled with some issues in the past. I've struggled with problems involving mental health and self-image, and especially if you grow up like the way I described, you start to feel like you're less than, and eventually manifests. And when you start dealing with mental health issues, you think that there's no way out of it. And while it is true that there's no cure for mental health problems, it's something that you treat yourself every single day. You have to work it out like it's a muscle. And and the way I believe now is if you can work out this muscle, you can work out this muscle too.
So how do you work out the mind muscle? What's like workout routine?
Well, it's all about, well, first of all, physical exercise helps your mind as well. That's one thing that you can do. That's one thing I try to do as many days as I can. Another thing that I also try to do is, it's all in the breath. Breathing is very important. I feel like just the simple act of breathing, it has a way of tricking your mind that, like, if you breathe the right way, you breathe in for a certain amount of time, hold your breath, let it out. It tricks your mind into realizing that, hey, this is mindfulness. This is being in the moment. This is being present. And then another thing, obviously, you can do yoga, you can meditate. I'm not a big fan of yoga, but I do meditate every single day. And maybe if you're a religious person, praying might work. One of the things that I've sort of really realized is I can't change the past, but what I can do is I can change the future. I can definitely change the present.
Yeah. you really hit on good points. You make me. I don't know which one to talk about. It's a little bit confusing. I'm like, which one is more interesting to talk about? But talking about health, workout, healthy diet, and man, finding what you love. Like find comedy, find porn or whatever it is. You know, I feel like finding something that really can give escape to your mind, and something you are not doing for the money or to pay the rent. I think that's big part of the game. And as you said, like you cannot put the whole eggs in one basket. You cannot find something you love. Oh, I found comedy. Okay, 24 hours comedy. I'm good. I'm happy. No, you are fucked. Workout. It's beautiful. When you start also the day with workout, I feel like the rest of the day become easy. And I feel like our body also is required, like our ancestors, they lived out, they had to survive, they had to hunt, but for you, they have just to climb the trees and get some veggies and fruits. But that's like you're hunting. And are you okay? I see you are looking right and left.
Could you give me 1 second?
Yeah, take your time. Take your time.
I don't know if you heard something.
Go, take
1 second.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1 second, he's gonna come back. But it's really interesting to talk to him or any other person in this who I have in this podcast. It's crazy. I learn a lot, and I get surprised because this guy, I only listen to his comedy, and now when I talk to him, it's like, I'm just saying that I like this podcast because like I only listen to your comedy. So when I talk to you, it's like I find different person, new person. And it's like with comedy, you exaggerate, you bring some jokes. So now when I'm talking to you, I'm really knowing who you are and what you think. So it's very interesting for me. Like, I love it. That's why, see, I love this podcast. I don't even check how many people watch it. I don't do it for the money. So, and yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you find something you love, you get in a healthy diet, you work out. And I think the people around you and what you listen, because people say, oh, I'm good. He is my best friend from school. We went to school together for 12 years. I think you should also be very selective with who you keep around you and what you listen. The news, how many millions of people listen to the news? I feel like the news is the worst diet for the mind.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that you said it yourself, and this is comedy is what comedy has honestly done for me. It's been the first example for me of what it's like to interact with people who aren't like you so much, what it's like to interact with people from so many different backgrounds, people who may understand you, who may not understand you, but we're all sort of united with one goal, and that's to make people laugh. And the best part about being amateur comedians is that, we're not really in a race for money. We're not competing with one another. We're doing this because this is what we love, and we're doing. And the best part is, I think you mentioned that you don't know how many people are watching you. I think more people are watching you on YouTube than watching me.
What do you mean?
Oh, you know that your podcast is on YouTube, right? I think you get more views than I do every time you post something. I post videos too.
Do you have podcast?
I have a YouTube channel.
And what do you post?
I do observational pieces, rants, one-liners, my usual comedy that you're used to seeing. Yeah, most of it is most of it is in character.
Okay, so you will have your joke, you will work on it, it's funny in the stage, and then you will put it in video, like couple seconds, one line. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, usually if I do a set during an open mic and if people love it, then I'll film myself doing it for the internet audience, and I'll put it on YouTube.
So you film all your set, and the one that people like it, you put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
How do you film them? Do you have like someone to film you, or do you put your phone? How's the quality and the voice?
Well, sometimes I get filmed. Usually when I'm getting filmed, I go through about maybe 5 pages worth of comedy, which could take about 20 minutes. But if it's just like a one-man camera like we're doing right now, then I might just go through 1 page of jokes, which could take 5 minutes.
But who films you?
Sometimes I film myself, and sometimes, to be honest, I'm sometimes my mom. Sometimes.
So your mom would come to the comedy club, she will film you, and you put it on YouTube.
To tell you the truth, I've actually never been to a comedy club. You know how you get it. You know, you have to have an actor that's good enough to get invited to those things. Most of my videos are shot at home, performing for my family only.
How about open mics?
The only the last time I went to a live open mic was when I was in college. So that was before Zoom.
So why, like, do you live in a place which is far from this open mics, or?
Kind of. So very interestingly, when I saw your podcast for the first time, I saw you talk with Josh, I saw you talk to Jerry, I saw you talk to Heather. These are all New York comedians, and I'm like, it was funny because you need to meet a Midwestern comedian. So not only do I live in the Midwest, but I live in a suburb that's a very long time away from Chicago. So Chicago is where the best open mics are, but first of all, it takes a long time to get there, and second of all, I don't have a car. So there's that.
Wow, man, like Zoom is not just for people who doesn't have comedy in their countries. Also, like Zoom solved some solutions. Well, it didn't solve it 100%. You need to be with people, but at least it gave the opportunity for people that doesn't have open mics. Wow. So what now? Like, are you planning to move to Chicago? Are you planning to, like, what are you gonna do with comedy?
You know, I've been thinking about that for a long time, and and I hope that I can make a living out of it, but I feel like most of the people we know don't have a full living out of it yet. I feel like I still need to work a day job. I'll probably my fingers are crossed that in the near future I'll get to have my own place, hopefully in Chicago. And but I feel like I'd want to travel, live in different places. I feel like I'd want to live in different places, not only in America, but across the world.
Wow, man, it's really it's crazy. It's crazy. You said you are 22 or 23 or
24.
24. And you are like, I don't want to have kids. For sure, man, don't have kids. I don't care how good is your mentality. If you don't know, you want to go to Chicago. Because I feel, yeah, it's also weird when they let at what age did your parents have you?
Relatively, so funny story. So in India, so yeah, they had what you've heard of an arranged marriage, right? I know you joke about it a few times.
That's my game. That's the game in Yemen.
I feel like that's both our games, but yeah,
Wow.
my parents had an arranged marriage, but I don't know if so. The way it works in India is usually older siblings get married first in the arranged marriage system. My dad was the 4th child, and my mom was the 6th child in their respective families. So they both got married relatively late compared to the rest of people in India.
What? Yeah, they don't allow, if your older brother is not married, you are not allowed to marry. Shit.
Yeah.
Let's
So yeah,
go, India. Yes.
my dad was the fourth of five kids, and my mom was the youngest of six. So they got married. Then it wasn't until like almost 7 years after they married that I was born. I'm the oldest, and what happened was not only was I born slightly premature, I was born to the day, exactly on the same day as my mom's 32nd birthday.
Shit. Wow.
So like, and I joked about this in one of my videos, but so, but yeah, exactly on the day that, so I joked that I gave my mom arguably the worst birthday present ever. I was her worst birthday present ever.
Oh, come on.
And then I joked that my mom must have been thinking while she was in labor, as if sharing a birthday with Rush Limbaugh isn't painful enough.
And it's also crazy, like to marry and have kids at a young age, because you are just starting to experience life. You don't know who the fuck you are or what you wanna be. Like you are trying to figure it out, and suddenly you are bringing humans.
And I think people started to realize, let's give baby boomers and Gen X credit for doing one thing right, which is, I feel like because they were still the kind of the last generation to marry young, they realized on behalf of future generations that it's probably a bad idea to marry young before you have your own life sorted out, because I think what happened was one of the main reasons why the average age in which people get married is starting to go up. It's because I feel like boomers and divorce rates started to go up because of baby boomer marriages and Gen X marriages, and a lot of their children, which was of course millennials and Generation Z, they grew up with divorced parents, and they didn't want to experience that themselves. But you never say never, because keep in mind, you know who Bill Burr is, right?
That guy is, yeah.
He used to joke about marriage all the time, but now guess what? He is married and has 2 kids. But he waited until he was like in his 40s to get married. So more power to him.
Oh, it's usually when you are young, you can find someone that's young and you have that spatial, like you never done drugs, but with you, or psychedelics. I don't know you if you are into this thing, but you have that spatial memories. You have that young memories growing up together, which is Bill Burr cannot have it. That okay, what's would you spend your 20s or until you are 40? Would you rather have like sex and party and have fun and enjoy your life with women, or would you like to have one special woman that you I don't know how to put it in a nice way for you, but like you have that special.
Say whatever you want. Say it as it is. I won't judge.
Yeah, just that special person who you have that memory that you cannot buy by money or you cannot replace, and you do the same things. You travel. Would you trade, like, I don't know, because also it's hard to ask you this question because you really haven't met someone. Like if you are with someone and they did something to you, you might be like, wow, before I didn't know that people could be this nice, or I didn't know that I will meet someone this nice. This person gave me access to other world I didn't know that exists, and that's why I'm a different person. So I don't know if that question is good, but I am. Tell me your answer.
So I will tell you this. I don't know if I'm the right person to ask. I'll tell you that, because not only have I never been in a relationship, but I joke about this over and over again. I've never even done it with anyone before. So I joke about this over and over again. Don't you pay attention at the open mics? But you know what? That's a good question. It's a fair question. They say that I feel like the only people who are committing themselves to one person and one only these days are ultra religious people who just won't take divorce for an answer. Now, so either people who are ultra religious or people who are so in tune with their culture or their backgrounds that they won't ever separate, no matter how boring, no matter how useless the marriage is. But here's my thing. I feel like sometimes I question, is marriage worth it? Like, is the true definition of being human, are you supposed to spend your entire life with one person and one person only? Is that in our nature? I question that all the time. And that's a question I ask myself as I decide whether or not marriage is right for me. Now, especially among modern people, what I'm starting to see nowadays, I feel like after they realize that maybe they spent their entire 20s partying, and maybe once they reach their 30s or their 40s, they realize that, hey, I can't party like I used to. My looks are going away. I think I need to settle down with one person before I'm left with nobody.
It's funny. Wow, man, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy, because also, like, we are told some stuff. Some people even think that the way we are programmed is fucked up. Humans in general, the system, the way we live, the things, how we feel, how we judge it, and that's why everything is fucked up. That's why everything is fucked up. Crazy.
It could be true. What you just said could be true. And sometimes you asked a question once during one of your episodes, like, could it be possible that we're living in a simulation? I've been, sometimes I think to myself, a lot of people ask that question. Is it possible that we're living in a simulation? And I think because of the norms that we live that even aren't necessarily laws, that we're just forced to abide by, even if they might not be written into the law of whatever country or whatever civilization we live in. I feel like because we have to follow those norms to the letter, and because we get judged so much if we don't follow them, then yeah, I think we might be, there might be a chance that we might all just be living in one simulation.
It's it's weird to think about an answer where there is no answer.
Yeah.
Like, even what is simulation? What is language? What is this? What are you talking? What are you saying? Why are we, like, it's yeah, that's why it's nice, like, as I told you, to find comedy or find something you like, work out, because it's a crazy world to navigate. You will never be able to navigate it. You should just keep busy, do something. It's crazy. So now what you do? So now for sure your favorite UFC fighter is Nate Diaz. That's like
I wouldn't call him my favorite. My favorite, I know he's not in the UFC anymore, but I'm gonna have to go with do you know who Demetrius Johnson is? They call him the Mighty Mouse.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, man. I need to go closer so I can check my. What I wanna tell you is, unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to have TV when I was a kid. That's how my parents were fucked up. So, but I used to love fights and fighting. Like, if people fighting in the street, that's the best day, the most exciting day for me. I would jump and anyway. So I'm big fan of the UFC, but since I had TV, which is like, and phone and access, because maybe 2 years ago I started watching UFC, and I love it. I love it. I feel like if I were like UFC would be, I would love it if I find it at any age. I would get addicted to it. But yeah, tell me about this fighter.
So Demetrius Johnson, better known as Mighty Mouse, he's no longer in the UFC. I think he's with a different promotion now. But the thing about Mighty Mouse is that he just seems like he has the most humble background. Like, when you turn on fights and when you turn on press conferences involving him, he's not first of all, he's a very technically gifted fighter. I think maybe a better grappler than a striker, because it might come from that wrestling background. But first of all, there's that. Second of all, he's not a big showboater. So he doesn't brag about how great of a fighter he is, or he doesn't say things like Conor McGregor would or John Jones would. That's the mentality I want to follow. It's the way I see it. Someone taught it to me. raise your standards and lower your voice. So you can talk the talk, but you got to be able to walk the walk. That's the way I see it. That's the second reason I think he's my favorite fighter. And third of all, he's amazing how he can beat fighters bigger than himself. He's only 5'3" tall. I don't know if you knew that.
You mean taller than him, but the weight must be the same.
Yeah.
The weight.
And
yeah. So does he like bring them down to the ground and tap them or knock them out?
Yeah. I think even Dana White has talked about, how great of a grappler he is, how great of a wrestler, how great he is at getting his opponent on their back and getting.
Can you send me his name in the chat, or
so,
is it hard for you to write with your phone?
Let me see.
Because for sure I might know his face, but I want to talk with you about the second. Okay, thank you. So the second point, look, I want to tell you this. Fights is built on how many percentage of people who watch UFC knows what's going on?
I feel like most people who watch UFC are just excited to see two people going at each other no holds barred. Like, I feel like they don't really understand the technical aspects of it.
This guy, I don't know him so much, but he seems to be strong. If I owe him money, I will pay him. Anyway, what I wanted to tell you is, first of all, fights, it's like sport in general, it's like war. It's like every country brings someone and we watch who win, but these people do it and it's like exciting. India against America in football, it's like going and this play, it's crazy emotions and how, anyway. So, but what I want to tell you is this all people, maybe 5% or 10% or less, I would stick with less than, that really knows what's going on inside, that really knows, because it's an art. How many people watch comedy knows how it's made, the jokes, and it's nobody knows. How many people can analyze the fight and tell you why corner win? How like it's study. Conor McGregor, he trained. It's about timing. It's about distance. It's about how many people know all this. So it's emotions mostly, and that's why Conor McGregor makes money. That's why he's so famous, because he brings people emotions up. I love what you love about your fighter. I love the good things, but I just want to tell you that Conor is like, yes, many people say, oh, he has big mouth, he is this, but that motherfucker has so much money. Like he knows, he knew how to milk
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, Conor McGregor. Yeah, Conor McGregor. I don't mean to cut you off, but yeah, Conor McGregor. I agree with you. He's a lot like you know who Floyd Mayweather is, right?
Yeah, that guy.
Yes. So like Conor McGregor is basically the Floyd Mayweather of MMA. Like he has the skill to win. He has the skill to really to whether it's knock an opponent out or get them to tap. That's his skill. But I think what
I said businessman. They know how to market it.
Yeah. What really adds on to his persona and his mystique is he's a trash talker. Like his ability to trash talk, to work the mic. And because of that, he, like you said, he gets people emotionally involved. Now, the way he trash talks, he knows how to milk it for views. He gets you, the audience, to either love him or hate him. And that's what ultimately the UFC, they want more people turning on the camera or buying pay-per-view to watch him either win or lose.
That's it, man. That's it's business. You need to like, man. I want to tell you that this podcast and many other podcasts always makes me also change my mentality. That don't worry. I feel like this podcast went amazing. Like I'm so satisfied with what we did. Same with comedy sets. Like today I had an open mic as well, and I felt that I will bomb the whole set. Every comedian go up and I'm thinking, I will bomb. You should have fun, laugh, enjoy, ride the wave. This podcast as well, like I was stressed. I'm like, fuck, what if I don't know what to talk about. What if we're gonna be boring? I have another podcast coming next week, and uh, it's with comedians. I have one, she is, I think, in both of them. She's in New York, and I think, yeah. So also it's a little bit more stressful, like they are, but I think that thank you for being amazing, because that's, if you weren't here, this wouldn't be proven. And I want to tell you that I could talk to you, I think, until tomorrow, but I mean, like, you have open mind. I love the way you answer questions, the way you put your point. I enjoyed you so much. Like, you are great. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you so much for having me on today. You know, well, first of all, I was incredibly excited that you decided to have me on here. I was a little nervous at first because the first time I ever saw one of your episodes, you came off as this like worldly, knowledgeable man, and I'm just like, do I have anything in my life to talk about that would make Muaadh interested? I mean, you were talking about stuff like getting an agent and self-promoting and social media, and you also talked about partying and clubbing and all sorts of different topics, marriages, and I'm still young, like I said, never say never. And also, not to mention, this is my first interview since like January of 2021. So, um, but but you know, yeah. Once again, thank you so much for having me. I feel like the feeling's mutual. You know, I learned so much from you. You know, you're a great person to talk to, and yeah, it's a shame, you know, we had to cut this short, but hopefully we can eat. By the way, you know that today's the last Meat Slap open mic, right?
Yeah, man.
You gonna go?
We will hit it hard. We will make, like, we close it hard. I have some stuff as well. So we will go there. And yeah, man, I hope to see you in other open mics. I'm also feeling happy and lucky that this is not the last time I will talk with you. And that, like, I just appreciate you being here so much.
I know some of your interviews go for like some of your episodes go for like 2 hours. Is there a reason we have to cut short today?
To be honest, I went to the gym to work out, and I'm glad you asked me. So I had back surgery, by the way, due to rugby game. I used to play rugby, and I didn't stretch enough. I didn't work out good, so I end up having back surgery. The the nerves come out from the spine, and sorry, what's between the spine come out to the nerves. So the nerves weren't able to deliver to the leg. It hurts when I move it. I wasn't able to walk. But thanks God I recovered. Like, now I am in better shape than I ever been all my life. But now I am more conscious. So right before this podcast with this t-shirt, I was working out in the gym. I didn't even have time to take shower and change. And now I'm sitting for 1 hour. So my back, it's a little bit, and that's why I learned from this surgery that you have to listen to your body. For example, if today is not, I don't have workout, and maybe I stretched yesterday. Yesterday was an easy day as well. I would sit longer. So what I learned after my surgery is that you have to listen to your body and be careful with this machine. That's honestly the whole reason. Also, I still have to work. Like, I will be sitting for another 8 hours. Tomorrow I have a volleyball game, so I need to, I mean, like, put everything shorter so I can survive. And that's really the reason. And thank you for asking. I appreciate you asking. And I want to have you again. We can do this again.
Absolutely. And thank you once again. Thank you for having me. I feel like I learned as much from you today as you learned from me. And yeah, if you can have me on, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me know.
Okay, I promise we will run it back again, because I really enjoyed talking with you, and you exceed the expectations.
Yeah.
So
hopefully your audience thinks your audience thinks I'm as funny as they are.
no, you are amazing, and see you soon.
Yeah. See you soon. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Thank you.